Hello everyone. We are beginning our last lesson and you are fully into the planning and preparing of your final project. So this is our last lesson in personal community health, and this is the lesson that's focused primarily on the community and environmental health, so we can start to see that connection between our personal health and then the impacts of our community and those decisions as well. So we're going to get started here. Think about some examples of communities that you belong to. Maybe your sports group, or maybe your faith group, your school group, your neighborhood. These are all different types of communities. Also think about what community health means to you. So jot these answers down on your guided notes page. Over the course of today's lessons, we're going to be investigating how personal health and community health are interconnected. We're also going to look at social and environmental factors that play a role in both shaping our personal and our community health, and work to advocate for environmental health. Part of your advocacy campaign is to make that connection of your behavior to its impact in the community. So think about that, what your project idea is, and how you might make that connection. There are many social and environmental factors that influence our health in the community, which in turn influence personal health practices. According to Healthy People 2020, a health promotion program sponsored by the federal government, several factors help determine health and community. Of these factors, we have social factors and environmental factors. Social factors include the access to quality health care, quality schools, public safety and exposure to crime, and the availability for healthy foods. Environmental factors include clean water, access to recreational settings, safe housing, communities and roads, and safe air. So we're going to do an activity before you continue in the video lecture. So during this activity, you're going to pause the video and then turn to your group and work on the two graphic organizers that are prepared and on your table with you. Each person's going to fill in one factor row and take turns passing it around while you discuss your thoughts and filling in the organizer. You notice at the far right column, the organizer asks you to brainstorm the ranking. So we're going to get some information, and you're going to brainstorm some information here, and then you're going to guess what you think the Fairfax County ranking would be if you had to grade it from an A to an F for each of those factors, whether they're social or environmental. And then the very last column that says actual is what we're going to talk about later in this video presentation. So just leave that column blank, and then you can fill it in as you watch the end of the video. So at this time, go ahead and complete the group activity, and then resume this recording once you're completed. These social and environmental factors that we just discussed all have a profound impact on both personal health and community health. So let's take a look at those factors and see how they are affecting the health of our county. We'll start with the access to quality health care. One set of data to look at involves this access to quality health care. According to Living Healthy, Fairfax County ranks 19th out of 133 Virginia cities and counties in clinical care rankings, which measures the number of and the quality of doctors and primary care providers, as well as the number of people that access dentist and other preventative health care. So Fairfax County also ranks second out of 133 Virginia schools and counties in terms of health behaviors, looking at several behaviors like smoking, obesity, and physical inactivity. So if you had to rank that, they both are in the green. If you look at the little needle, it's high in the green section. So I would say that was a pretty high ranking. The next factor is schools and having an educated population. So Fairfax County Public Schools was ranked the fifth best school fifth best school division in Virginia. According to U.S. News and World Report, 7 out of the top 10 high schools in Virginia are in Fairfax County's public schools. Furthermore, at least 59% of the adults in Fairfax County have a college degree, compared with the national average of only 32%. So again, it's a pretty high ranking considering the data. Fairfax is also known to have a safe community. Fairfax County experienced 90 violent crimes per 100,000 people, which is below the national average of 370 violent crimes per 100,000. And last, in the social factors, we have the availability of healthy food. So people in Fairfax County have access to healthy food. The Food Environment Index for the county is 9.6 out of a high score of 10. The Food Environmental Index measures the access to grocery stores and the percentage of people with reliable food sources. So when looking at all the social factors, I think we rank pretty high in all categories. Let's move on to the environmental factors. Starting with water, people in Fairfax County have access to clean water, and according to Fairfax Water and Live Healthy Fairfax, 0% of the people in Fairfax County are getting water from a source with a health violation. Another environmental factor that Fairfax County excels in is the access to recreational opportunities. Almost 99% of Fairfax County residents live in close proximity to a park or recreational facility. In the county, 15.4% of adults lead sedentary lifestyles, meaning they do not participate in physical activity for fun. This number is well below the national average, as Healthy People's 2020 national health target is to reduce the percentage of sedentary adults to 32%. So the national goal is to reduce it down to 32%, and we're already at 15%, which is great. Housing is another area in Fairfax County that ranks in the middle. The cost of living in Fairfax County is much higher than in other parts of the country, which attributes to the high percentage, 45%, of people spending 30% or more of their income on housing. In Fairfax, 14.7% of households experience severe housing problems, such as overcrowding or high housing cost. Such problems can cause increase in social and emotional problems in individuals, which in turn can lead to community issues such as increase in homelessness. And one area in which Fairfax County really struggles is air quality. We received an F grade from the American Lung Association because of the levels of ozone in the air. High levels of ozone in the air contribute to a number of health problems, including decreased lung capacity and asthma. High levels of ozone also impact the environment, leading to reduced food, crops, and damage to trees and other vegetation. Ozone levels are known to rise because of the emissions from cars, and people in Fairfax County commute about 32 minutes in a car, well above the national average. In addition, 50% of adults travel by themselves in a car on a long commute, which again is well above the national average. So definitely not our strength. Now that you've looked at the data from the environmental health factors in Fairfax County, what conclusions can you draw? How do those conclusions relate to your project idea that you're going to do for your advocacy campaign? As the data shows, Fairfax experiences high levels of air pollution. One contributing factor is emissions from a large number of cars on the road in Fairfax County and a number of cars sitting and idling in traffic. There's a number of other factors and activities that do contribute to the air pollution as well. It does bring me back to thinking about the kiss and ride lines and how many cars are sitting and idling and waiting and then dropping off their children or picking them up. Puts a lot of emissions in the air. We engage in many activities that contribute to air pollution. These activities can impact individual health and the health of our community. As you see here, some of those include burning fossil fuels for activities like driving a car or even creating electricity, and also manufacturing and or industrial activities, as well as agricultural activities. In terms of why the pollution is a big deal, it's because we have health consequences. There's many health consequences for individuals associated with the air pollution, and pollutants can cause damage to the heart, lungs, kidney, and even cause diseases like cancer, pneumonia, and asthma. Pollution also affects the health of communities. Certain forms of air pollution are known to cause global warming and erode the ozone layer, which protects us from the UV rays of the sun. Air pollution can negatively impact the availability of food sources to our communities. Decreased amount of food would not be good. Because pollution can have a negative impact on both personal and community health, we must work to find solutions. And there's many activities that individuals and communities can engage in to improve personal and community health. One of those examples is participating in the Safe Routes to School program. This program aims to increase the number of students that are using active transportation, school buses or public buses, or carpooling, while reducing the number of vehicles in the kiss and ride lines. Schools that participate in Safe Routes to School program also show an increase in students biking and walking to school, which is an increase and also an increase in the number of students carpooling, but this helps with increasing the physical activity amongst our students as well. It helps to reduce the emissions in the environment while also increasing the amount of physical activity. Other conservation ideas include using active transportation, using public transportation, using energy-efficient devices, changing out our light bulbs to more energy-saving light bulbs, unplugging appliance chargers and other devices when they're not in use. Even here at school, we unplug everything before we leave for holiday breaks or weekends to make sure we're saving energy. Using rechargeable batteries and even planting trees to help with the levels of oxygen in the air. So now that you see some of those connections with the environment, social and environmental factors, and how they might relate to personal and community health, it's time to keep working on your final project. There's the checklist here for you to review and make sure you have all the pieces and parts that you need for your final project. So at this time, you can end the recording and go ahead and get back to work on your final project. Make sure you review the materials that are posted in the Google Classroom that have all your checklists, your rubric, your planning document for your project. And also don't forget that once you have your planning document filled out, it needs to be approved by me before you make your final project. All right, have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions and go ahead and get busy on your work.